Hello everyone, so in today's video I'm going to be talking about dyeing paper. So in another video I shared I was printing with dried leaves, and I had in my stash some coffee coloured dyed papers, and I had quite a few of you asking if I could share how I make these papers. So I've just made a little video show. I was just sort of running out, so I thought I'll just make another batch and I'll just film it for you. So these are a couple of examples of what it looks like once you've printed on top of them. So they're really nice, and they give that sort of mid-tone, which kind of makes your prints look nicer than perhaps just printing on a clean white piece of paper. You get a slightly different effect. So some of the papers that I've used for this project are just like envelopes and old music books, book pages that I've had torn out, just A4 paper. I've got a sketchbook which is A3 size, and what I've done is I've folded it into sections, and what I love is, I'll show you one example here. So once you've unfolded it, you get all these lovely creases and different marks. I got this tip from an artist called Robin Marie, who shared how she dyed her coffee papers, and I love this tip. So it's quite good if you're wanting to work on bigger sizes. It just gives you a lot of variety within that page. I'm going to use these on my big jelly plate, so I've tried that before and I really like the effects. So what I'll be using to dye my papers today, I've got tea bags here. So I put about 5 tea bags into one of these trays. So I just bought like a set of these trays, and then I just keep them for this purpose, for dyeing my papers. So it takes about an A4 size of paper. As I say, you can fold up bigger sheets. So about 5 tea bags, and then just boil the kettle to the neck, and then just fill it up to here, and then just put your papers in one by one so that they're getting completely saturated. And then what I do is put a weight on top. So I'll be showing you later on in the video how I do that. So I've got coffee, instant coffee here. Now I put sort of just quite a big sprinkling of coffee into the pan, and then dissolved it. The first time I did it, I actually used fresh coffee, and I think the dye was a little bit stronger. So just trial and error with different coffees, what's going to work best. And for the onion, you're just going to need the onion skins. So I bought like 2 small bags of onions and cut them up, and that was enough to do 1 pan of onions. So what you can do is, every time you're making a casserole, save the skins and put them in a bag in the freezer, and then they don't go mouldy, and you can just use them when you're ready. The same with the avocado. I like to just use them, give the skins a bit of a wash on the stones, and then pop them in a bag in the freezer, and then when you've got about 5 or 6, that'll be enough to dye some papers. This one didn't go as pink as it normally does, but you get a lovely sort of soft tone with the avocado. So they do have a bit of variety. So if you're interested in following along and you'd like to see how I make these, you're more than welcome. So let's get started. Okay, so I've got here my onion skins, which I have prepared earlier, and the kitchen absolutely stinks of onions. That was like 2 bags of onions to get those skins, and my poor daughter's trying to study in here today, so she's a bit cross because the whole kitchen stinks of onions. But I've frozen them so I can use them in casseroles later. And these are avocados that I have also frozen. So rather than buying a whole load of avocados, you can just sort of save them as you're using them. So I keep the stones and the skins, and then I just pop them in the freezer. So I've got a load of them saved here. I'm just putting these in a pan each. Oh, not onions. So we'll get 2 completely different colours from these different products. So what I'm going to do is I've boiled the kettle. So I'm going to pour the water. I might need to boil the kettle again just to get a bit more liquid. You just want to cover the skins. Yeah, I'm going to need to boil the kettle again. So just switch them on. Okay, so get them to boil and then just simmer for a while until the water starts to colour. So probably for about 45 minutes. I'll come back in 45 minutes and see if they're looking, if the water's gone to colour. Okay. Okay, so that's been cooking about 15 minutes now. I'm just going to take a little bit of liquid out to show you the colour of it. Look, that's the onions. It's looking quite nice and orange. Okay, so that didn't take too long. The avocados are taking a wee bit longer, I think. Give that a wee stir. Okay, so what I've done is I've scooped out the onions, just using a ladle. Got them in this little dish here. So I'm going to pour this liquid into the tray I've got here. I think it might be hot, so I'm going to pour that in. So this is the onion skins. Okay, so this is the onion skin dye. So you probably should wait till it cools down, but I'm just going to go for it and stick the papers in. I'm going to get my wooden spoon. I think it's actually better to stick them in like one at a time rather than just putting a whole pile in, because they won't. So then you get the colour on every page and it doesn't leave big white gaps. I have learnt from past experience. So I've got a variety of papers here, book pages. See what I mean? That one didn't get covered, so you get these white patches. I'm going to put that one back in. These were dyed with coffee, so it might be slightly different colours, so that might be quite cool. I have got some pages, what I've done is I've folded them up, and what I'd like is the sort of creases, like it's an old letter that's been found. So if you've got the creases in it, you get like different marks. So you have to kind of give that a good squish. down in the liquid. So that's just like thin sketchbook paper, about the same thickness as like photocopy paper. And these are really good for printing on. I've got some paper that's a little bit thicker. It's like a stuff you buy for making cards. Good to have a nice variety. Some envelopes. The envelopes can be nice for collage. Just having a real mixture of different things is nice. Different sizes, envelopes. So it's a good idea to put next to which one is which, because so you know for reference. Give you an idea the next day. Okay, so I'm just going to leave these overnight and see what they're like in the morning. You can put, I actually don't think they'll need a heavy weight. You could put a weight on top if you want them to press down a bit more, but they seem to be staying under the water there. You could like put a, I don't know, you could stick like a bow on top. Get them squished. Like that. Okay, cool. So I'll see you in the morning. So you'll see here I've got the papers that I've dyed hanging on the washing line to dry. I put them into sections, so I've got the coffee ones and the tea ones and the onion. I think these are dried now, so I'm going to take these in and give them an iron. Okay, so this paper here is one that I have previously printed on using some dried flowers and leaves that I had, and I just love the sort of aged feeling they get using the coffee dyed paper. It's just gives it another feel rather than just directly onto like a harsh white paper. It just softens the print. So when they come, once they've been dried on the washing line, this one's still a little bit damp, but I'm just going to give it a press with an iron, just so that when I go to print with it, it is nice and flat. And you can just pop them underneath something heavy for like overnight before you store them, to make sure that they're all lying nice and flat for you. So that's just an iron without any water in it. You can I'm just laid it on top of a sketchbook there to get that. But you can use these. This was another project I had with another artist that I follow called Robin Marie, and she shared how she makes these little sketchbooks, and what she does is collages on the front and then uses cold wax to seal it, and you get that sort of leathery feeling, which was really nice. So I made some of these little sketchbooks up with coffee dyed paper, so that was a really fun project that I enjoyed working on. But these will most likely be used for prints, the ones that I've done for today. And these envelopes, you know, you can use sections of them. I've had them in collages where I've had little birds sitting on the edge of the envelope. You can be really quite fun with the envelope shapes when you combine them in collages. So these are quite nice to have in your stash of papers. You can just do a bit of storytelling with the envelopes, I think, would quite nice. Okay, so I'm just going to iron all my papers, and I'll just speed it up to show you that. Okay, that's me getting to the end of the ironing. I have to say this is the only time I ever iron these days. My clothes don't see the iron. I just love these marks that you know, the parts that weren't dyed. I think they're just so beautiful. This was one that just sort of slipped in that had already been printed on, and it's got a double dyeing now. And these marks are just lovely. So that was with the tea bags. So my last one here. This is my last envelope. So it's amazing the different colour variations from the different plants and vegetables, coffee and tea. I've not really done a lot of eco dyeing, but something I'd quite like to learn more about. I've got a friend who is big into eco dyeing, and her name is Francesca Noons. So I'll put the link below for her if you'd like to learn more about this eco dye and stuff. She's got a YouTube channel as well, so she's got some great videos on there. Okay, so I've got my 4 piles of papers here. So these are the ones dyed with the tea bags. You can see the tone of them. Then I've got the onions. So these dyed really well, quite a vibrant sort of yellow ochre colour. It's quite nice. I think that'll work well with my colour schemes that I use. There's the coffee dyed papers. I think I might have put not quite enough coffee granules in this one. It's not, the last lot I did was a little bit darker. I might have used real coffee. So it's just trial and error. Some when you're doing these dyeing the papers, maybe take a note of what coffee you used one time and the next time if you're looking for a specific sort of colour. And the same with the avocado. That can vary as well depending on the paper you're printing on, because this one looks quite pink compared to the others. And I have used the avocado before and it went really pink, so again it's just the different varieties. So it's you know, it's not an exact science. You're going to get different dyes every time, but I like the sort of softness of that pink. I think that'll work really well with my prints. So I've got a nice stash here to work with. Feeling quite inspired to get printing with these. So I hope you enjoyed following along with that tutorial on how to dye your papers, and you'll have a go yourself and have some fun. Okay, thanks for watching everyone. Bye for now.